Florida Senator Marco Rubio delivered the Republican response to the president's address. Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Deserves a vote. Do you agree with the president that those people deserve a vote?
First of all, our heart is broken for those people. As I said last night, all of us would want to prevent that from happening again, and anything that would work to prevent that again, we should want to vote on. The problem is that everything the president is proposing would do nothing to have prevented what happened in Newtown, and would do nothing to prevent further violence in the future. You know, we have gun laws in America, and in Florida we have gun laws that are pretty strict in terms of requiring background checks for and you know, if you're a concealed weapons permit holder, all the requirements you have to do for that. The problem is that laws are only followed by law-abiding people. The people who commit these gun crimes, they don't care what the law is. They don't follow the law. They're criminals. And that's my concern with the proposal that I see coming out. And I also think they undermine, on the other hand, the law-abiding, the right of law-abiding citizens to possess arms via the Second Amendment. So I'm not sure what proposal specifically the president was referring to, but I'm sure there'll be votes on it. Certainly here in the Senate there will be.
So you'd like to see a proposal that you can vote on with respect to gun control?
I'd like to see a proposal that works. Not the things that they've outlined, none of them would have prevented what happened in Connecticut. None of them. None of the things that they have talked about doing would prevent what's happening in Connecticut. So what happened in Connecticut. So if they want to change the Second Amendment, if they want to change America's gun laws, then that's fine. Then say that's what you want to do, and let's have a debate about it. But I think if we're being honest with ourselves in terms of preventing what happened in Newtown from happening again, and none of these proposals that they're proposing would do that.
Senator, you have been called the Republican savior. Yesterday, you voted against the Violence Against Women Act. You've opposed repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You oppose universal background checks for gun buyers. You've yet to introduce a bill on immigration reform. Is that the future of the Republican Party?
Well, first of all, I think that's an inaccurate characterization. I'm not opposed to the Violence Against Women Act. I would vote gladly to have reauthorized the law we have right now. I voted against it because it has a provision in there that hurts Florida. It basically mandates that the state must spend certain money in certain ways, and in fact it undermines domestic violence programs in Florida that work very well. And I've made that very clear over and over again. They didn't want to change the bill. They weren't going to have my vote. Some of the other things you've outlined, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, that happened before I was even in the Senate. And as far as immigration reform is concerned...
But do you support it now, then, the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
Well, I'm not... Listen, we're not going to change it, and I'm not saying we should change it. Ultimately, you know, that's the law now that they've decided. I don't think it's undermined our military readiness. We've debated that and moved on from it. Here's the bottom line. What I've always said on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, by the way, is that it's a decision that we should listen to the military commanders on, not the politicians. I believe that's what I've said on that issue. As far as the issue of immigration is concerned, I've been here for 2 years. This is an issue that hasn't been solved in 25 years. I'm involved in an effort now to try to come up with a reasonable solution. Spent a lot of time on that issue, and hopefully we'll have a real solution to offer.
Senator, can you support a $9 minimum wage?
Again, I support people making more than $9. I want people to make as much as they can. I don't think a minimum wage law works. We all support, I certainly do, having more taxpayers, meaning more people that are employed, and I want people to make a lot more than $9. $9 is not enough. The problem is that if you can't do that by mandating it in the minimum wage laws. Minimum wage laws have never worked in terms of helping the middle class attain more prosperity. What works is the kinds of things that I proposed last night that would help our free enterprise system create an environment for the private sector to grow, create more good-paying jobs. I hope let's have a debate about growth and what generates growth, because a minimum wage law, as good as it may sound at the outset, is not the way to do it.
And Senator, you had a lot of substance in your speech last night, but you know a lot of people are focusing on you reaching for that bottle of water. Were you nervous?
Yeah.
Explain what happened.
No, you know, when you talk a lot, it happens. Unfortunately, when you're giving a speech, you have a podium and the water's there. When you're standing up in front of a camera, you don't have that option. It had been a long day of work. I had already taped an 18-minute speech in Spanish, so I'm just glad the water was nearby. I don't know what I would have done without it.
Senator Rubio, thank you.
Thank you.